Hi folks, and welcome to your Gersnet immediate post-match reaction pod, coming to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering. My name's Alec Anderson, and I'm coming to you from outside Ibrox. I'm back to front Ibrox because I just don't know how to work this phone properly. After Rangers, frankly extraordinary for all sorts of reasons, 3-2 win over Partick Thistle in this kind of 4 o'clock on a Sunday, moved for television kick-off in the last 16 of the Scottish Cup. What should be the headline news is that the holders are through to tomorrow night's quarter-final draw, but of course it would be. The headline news will be all about Rangers allowing Partick Thistle an equaliser after Malik Tillman got a wee bit carried away. He wasn't quite sure that Partick Thistle were going to give us the ball back after we'd put it out for an injury, so he just steamed in there, decided to beat everybody in the park and walk the ball into the back of the net, and then took a bit of a doing from all the Thistle players who were a bit outraged by it. I applauded it. I applauded it when Rangers stood aside to allow Partick Thistle an equaliser, and I waited for other people will join in, I thought, as I clapped my hands on my own up the back of the main stand, and nobody joined in. There's a lot of Rangers supporters out there felt as if Michael Beale had sold the jerseys by making that decision, the decision to give Thistle an equaliser. I think he actually embellished the jerseys. Quite frankly, I haven't been that proud of the actions of a Rangers manager in the Scottish Cup since Walter Smith decided to steam into the Hibs dugout to take on, to square go the massive Mixu Patalainen, just to G up the atmosphere round about a drab Scottish Cup tie against Hibs back in 2007-2008, a season where we won the Scottish Cup after beating Partick Thistle en route. I get it folks, I get it. The whole of Scottish football seems to have been crapping us from a large height for the last decade or so, particularly back in 2012. We were forced to go down 4 divisions. We were demoted 4 divisions because apparently we were the only club in the country who weren't paying as much tax as humanly possible. I know it's been a lot of nonsense, but I think we've got to ask ourselves a question: do we want to be like us and just keeping the game alive, respecting football as a sport, or do we want to be running about hysterically shouting about conspiracies that don't exist, you know, and getting more hysterical because VAR's coming in and proving that these refereeing conspiracies against certain teams just don't exist? I think we did the right thing today, and I was really proud of it. Put it this way, at half time I was utterly raging at Michael Beale for his selection, for his team selection, and I was worried that he was going to give up, especially with extra time and penalties coming into play today for end of a draw. I think it was risking his own unbeaten record as Rangers manager. We continue this inability to put away sides that we should be putting away, to really kind of go to town on Sunday. I think we had a 3-0 win over Motherwell in December, Motherwell who sacked their manager yesterday. And even then Michael Beale himself was complaining about our use of the ball in that game. By the end of the game, I couldn't have cared less. By the end of the game, I was almost in the point of not actually caring if Rangers won the game or not. It was just about, there are things, realising that there's more to support Rangers than just want us to win trophies, just want us to win every game. That was just a massive thing today, and I'm so proud of Malik Tillman. I didn't mean to say that. I'm so proud Malik Tillman just tried to play the game, but I'm so proud of the rest of us. I'm so proud of the manager. I'm so proud of James Tavernier, our captain, and even Alan McGregor making a wee joke at it as he tried to foul the Thistle player who was been allowed to walks the ball into the back of our net to make it 2 each. The first half, my reaction at the beginning of the game today, I mean, as Morrissey said about acoustic guitars and protest singers, I can smile about it now, but at the time it was terrible. We made 7 changes to the lineup, which frankly struggled against Ross County, who frankly aren't that much better than Partick Thistle in that league game last Saturday. So you can say, right, that should be the case. We should be making big changes when we've struggled last week, but it wasn't like that. We were bringing rust and leg weariness and a lack of sharpness into every department of our team today with those changes. Like even the goalkeeper, we knew that Alan McGregor was going to be one of the changes because Michael Beale has told us he will continue to rotate the goalies, and being an oldster myself, I know that guys at that age, they need match sharpness more than anything else. It takes them longer to get their match sharpness back, so I don't know why he continues to rotate goalkeepers of an age where that's the last thing they need. Pick one and stick with them. And it could be Alan McGregor after today because he had a cracking save for 2 Greeks. But we then have, I mean, James Sands isn't unfit. James Sands isn't recovering from injury, but he's not a player I fancy anymore. James, he's been hard done by in the Champions League, having to come in to cover at centre half. But I think we're allowed to see that James Sands just is not Rangers standard, and I don't mean any disrespect to the fella. He's a lovely guy and he's definitely trying his best. Doesn't shirk anything. But I was really unhappy that he was starting at centre half today, and Connor Golson was rested. Connor Golson, who himself is, you know, has been out for like 2 months. He's just kind coming back, and he's come back to top form. And before he went out injured after that Champions League game against Liverpool, he was always playing. He was a constant pick, and I don't know why he wasn't played today. We then have Nico Raskin, who basically his first start for Rangers today. He was babysat by Glenn Kamara, who was, strictly speaking, one of the changes, but that's no risk bringing in Glenn Kamara as part of the sitting two in midfield. Antonio Cholak, come on against Hearts at Tynecastle. He came on last week against Ross County and he looked terrible. He looked so slow. It was unbelievable. I know we've got to get him fitness somehow. He shouldn't be starting that game. Same with Yanis Hadji. He's been out for over a year. Poor Yanis. Ryan Kent's dropped and there was nothing happening on that left-hand side. That he was a kind of left going 10. Fashion Sakala wasn't even in the squad. We understood that. Patrick Caskey on our Friday night preview pod of this match was telling me, of course, that if Thistle were going to be kind of mostly in a low block or being quite defensive, they're not going. Fashion needs a kind of a running start at people. He needs to be able to run past teams. Teams start sitting in deep. Sakala's game's not suited to that, and he deserves a rest, Fashion. But no Morelos, no Kent, and it really, strictly speaking, Malik Tillman was a change today as well. But that's a kind of technicality, given that he played most of the game last week against Ross County. And he was certainly at the centre of things today, but I was really unhappy with this. I think Michael Beale at times, to me, seems to be impersonating a good manager. He seems to be like one of those impressionists who kind of tells you who he's impersonating. And this is one of those ones, look, I'm the kind of manager who everything's going really smoothly. My squad depth's now at a level where, I can make 7 changes and we can take it easy against a first division side, a championship side. No, we can't. We just can't. Thistle, I've got nothing to lose. They're kind of bored probably the last few years trying to get out that division, always ending up a bit kind of 4th or mid-table where they are just now. This was a big day out for them. They had nothing to lose. They were going to enjoy it. They had 2,500 fans here with them today. Nice of them to bring along a lot of Belgian flags though to kind of welcome Nicholas Raskin. Very sporting. But we were terrible. We couldn't get a shot on goal really. We hardly threatened at all in that first half, and it was kind of summed up for me. I think it was about the 18th, 19th minute. Raskin almost gives the ball away in his own box. I think it's a Thistle free kick, a Thistle corner, or a shy, whatever. He almost gives away the ball in his own box, but then does well and proceeds to start a counter-attack in which there was just no counter and just no attack. We got a corner out of it, but the lack of legs we had going forward, even Todd Cantwell, he's only had 2 starts for Rangers. He's been out for 2 months before that in his kind of ongoing dispute with Norwich City. He still needs to get time into his legs, and when you've got a team coming who are energised by the fact that they're in a no-lose situation, it's a big game for them today at Ibrox, you don't give them more energy by responding to that, by picking lots of players with rust in their legs, lots of players who just aren't up to speed. Maybe 2, you can maybe afford to put 2 in there, no more than that. And it was just, we were going backwards. Thistle were getting more and more confident, we were giving them more and more energy, and eventually they get a penalty. Now listen, I've got, it's one of those crazy situations where the fact I was at the game actually precludes me from commenting on the kind of veracity of the penalty decision. There were a lot of texts, a lot of tweets, a lot of messages coming to me from not in any way reliable sources, or mad bears, telling me there was absolutely no way it was a penalty. But I'm because of who was telling me it wasn't a penalty, apologies to my pals. I'm going to wait until I get home to see it on the television. But it definitely seems to be the consensus that it was a pretty kind of controversial decision. But that's what it is. It's a controversial decision. It's not to be VAR. People throw in VAR all the time. It's just becoming a kind of the way VAR was thrown in last season when it wasn't around, as if it was going to solve every bad decision ever made in a football match. It's now been thrown in again to prove that every controversial decision only happened because VAR has been brought in. It's just becoming a bit of a nonsense. A lot of bad actors are using it in a really lazy way, but apparently it was a dodgy decision, so I'll wait and see that on the television. But it didn't really. Rangers kind of almost deserved to be a goal down when Thistle stuck away that penalty. We were in at half time, 1-0 down, and I was, as I say, absolutely, no pun intended, bailing at our selection. And the team need a performance. They need to put somebody away easily. Now, I know teams like Hibs and teams like Aberdeen always give us problems, and it's, we're just happy to have beaten them the way we did when Michael Beale came in. Happy to have beaten them at all. We're going to Ross County, we only win 1-0. It's a long night at Ross County. It's a long night against Ross County at Ibrox last week, when we only beat them 2-1. We beat Motherwell 3-0, but they sacked their manager yesterday, and even Michael Beale criticised that performance in December against Motherwell, saying our passing was really terrible. So there is just no kind of way that I think a team can sustain a challenge on all fronts. The way we're technically trying to do, we're still technically going for the treble if we don't get a good hard win a good easy win under our belt when we're expected to. There is an upside to this though. The upside being that when teams do come at us, when we go to play quality teams, I think the United were trying to kind of have a go at us at Tannadice. We kind of blew them away second half in that game. Hearts, you know, the team in third, try to kind of, you know, pull us back so they can have a go at second spot probably. They set up to try and play us at football, and we eviscerated them. They had no chance. So if we struggle against Livingston next week, I think it means we're actually going to the League Cup final against Celtic, a team who want to play us at football, and we've got a bloody good chance against them. Probably because of the way it's going just now. But I thought we needed an easy win, and we were asking for trouble today. So in the second half, when we only brought on, who did we bring on? We brought on Roof. Again, I mean, he always plays well, Kamar Roof, even when he comes back from injury. But when he come back in today, I'm thinking that's what we're bringing another crock on. We're bringing on somebody else who's coming back from injury. I think he came on for Cantwell, and we had Ryan Kent coming on for Hadji. But that was all that was needed. Nico Raskin got better and better. James Sands ends up scoring the winner. So, you know, shut up, Alec. How much? What do you know? But as I say, the main kind of thing today was, we had that incident where Malik Tillman, I saw Antonio Cholak kind of telling below me, telling the Thistle player, make sure, when you go, mate, go and take that shy, you know, get the ball back to us. And then what the Thistle attempted to do was, instead of just throwing the ball straight back to Rangers, they wanted to throw it back to one of the defenders who was going to punt it back to us. So that lets them kind of put it further back up the park, back into our half, when we really had the ball kind of deep in the Thistle half. Just let them do that, you know. And I know that, you know, you can, it's an argument you can stretch to say, even in going by the game today, Thistle, their goalkeeper was time wasting all the time when they were winning and when it was all square. So, you know, why are we not going up and demanding that you know, that Alan McGregor's allowed to time waste, or that the Thistle keeper starts throwing the ball out straight away, you know, to make up for that bit of cheating? But this is one of those ones. It's a kind of no-no. I only remember it happening, was it Yeovil? I think it was Stevie Crawford scoring for or against Yeovil for somebody at Yeovil's ground years ago, a similar kind of incident. But you just don't take advantage of what's supposed to be a sporting situation. So Malik got it wrong, but he also took a bit of a doing. I mean, the Thistle players just were, you know, it seemed to me they were punching seven shades out of him after they put the ball in the back. So you then get a whole confusion about should some of them have been sent off, why is VAR not picking that up? But it's, as I say, it's just refereeing, it's no VAR in particular. But I think the correct thing in the end was that we let them equalise, and because by that point we were actually playing absolutely brilliantly. Raskin had put in a fantastic ball. He came on to a game, as I say, and within 5 minutes of the restart he put a fantastic ball at the back post, and there was big Tony Goals, the man I thought was too rusty, just doing what he does best and nodding it across the goalie into the net for our equaliser to make it 1 each. I say Tillman put us 2-1 up with that kind of ropey goal. We let Thistle walk up the park and equalise, and then with 5 minutes to go, I think it was a Barisic corner, and I actually thought it was Tillman who'd headed it in, but it was James Sands, somebody else who had been deriding. So it's one of those days where I start off absolutely raging with our manager, and by the end of it it's like, no, I'm sorry Michael, you know what you're doing, mate, carry on. Talking of which, that's more than enough from me, because the boys will be on tonight. The main pod's going to be on at 9:30 tonight. That'll be Colin Armstrong's hosting, and he's got John McCallum and Stuart Weir as his guests, and they've seen all this stuff on the television too, I'd imagine, so they will really get in about it. It'll be a great pod, so please tune in for that, and thanks for listening to me just now. But roll on Rangers in the Scottish Cup. Thanks guys.